Hey, what's up, fam? God, Jujutsu Kaisen is still rolling thick. Like this whole arc started out pretty calming. You had the two different class teams, going at it, and there was the obvious twist that the other team was trying to kill Yuji because of obviously him being the host, the Sukuna, and it was one of those. It was one of those kind of arcs where you're like, I'm interested. It's going to be enjoyable. You're going to get some cool fights, but it wasn't as crazy as it is right now until a bunch of the cursed spirits decide to show up, crash things and try to go about their nefarious plots. And what I've talked about with Jujutsu Kaisen, and I've thought about this because some people have asked me like what makes the series special, and some people don't get the hype. What I think really is really good about the series are the villains. I think the villains are the best part. I really like Mahito, Hanami, this plant guy. I'm really starting to like as well. Like you get a lot of development from the villains, and sometimes it feels like it's actually their story on certain occasions. What that kind of like feel you get from a lot of protagonists all of the time when they're thinking and growing and reflecting mid fight, and it's how they're able to do stuff. That's what you see from like Mahito and here Hanami, and now he's like learning why he likes fighting, like where is the joys coming from it. And I also really just like his design. I really like practically everything about this character so far. Like he's got some pretty interesting attacks. They're both surprising and yet simplistic to understand, and yet like he pops out this attack, this big weird looking, like it looks like a, I don't know what that plant is called, but it has that big like spongy bulb in the middle, and then it shoots out all these seeds. And what I thought was really interesting about just this in general, as I'm ranting about more of the attack than the chapter, is the fact that it does more if you guard, because you use your cursed energy to try and guard against it, and it will actually feed off that and then get stronger and then do more damage. I thought that was really cool. Like everything about this technique, I love the way it looks. I like the way it goes off, and I like the way that it how it functions. But just speaking about the chapter itself, Yuji and Tadao are still fighting Hanami. You get a lot of really nice fighting choreography, and you just like throwing around. You're seeing them kind of like both sides thinking about the others, and like how they're how they need to plan their moves. How, what the enemy has figured out about them, what they need to do in order to counteract the fact that the opponent's countering. But I also really like that it demonstrated like how fast sometimes characters can think in mid fight. And you see like Tadao as he's like, I don't know who this girl is. I guess her name is Takata. I'm wondering if I missed something, because that doesn't look like the girl that was in his flashback in the previous chapter. That he's like trying to question abilities and figure out how these seeds work. And then at the end of it, when it shows him figured out, it has like time elapsed. So it says like in real time, in normal time, how things are being perceived versus how he's perceived it in his mind thinking. You don't get a lot of that in a lot of shonens, because obviously 5 seconds for a normal person can feel like an eternity for really fast characters. Whether they're moving really fast or they're thinking really fast. You know what I mean? But you got the Tado now kind of like talking about how even though that Hanami has figured out how his freaking attack boogie woogie, his ability to switch things around, it's not limited to him switching with other people. It's actually switching things within a range of anything that has cursed energy. So you can also do items. So what he kind of like sets it up is where Hanami is like getting used to them switching for attacks, but Tado switches Yuji with the I don't know what kind of weapon that is called. Is that a combat staff or a chain staff or something? Switches with it, and then rolls in with this really sick club down on him, just beat on him. And what I thought was really cool, like learning further into it, is the fact that Konami has this really cool, it's like double secret technique. So he has this his shoulder flower, and now like essentially how it works that they haven't figured out yet is it actually will drain the cursed energy from plants and stuff around him, and strengthen him. But it also has been building up for like a really big attack. So the name of the chapter Flower, regarding to that, is this trump card that he was pulling up, because he has his he says like it's hard for it's hard to really land a hit, like they're gonna be able to dodge it fairly easily. It's probably like, I don't know, like a linear beam, or like an orb that'll go out and explode. And I got really sad and then excited at the same time, because he was about to use his territorial expansion, and I really like the territorial expansions. The territorial expansions are so cool because they're just nice to look at, but they also tell a lot about a character. And it's kind of like in Bleach. You'd get when you finally get to a character's Bankai or release or whatever their I forgot what the Sterners was called. You get that a power that they have that's just a default. It's not like, because there's like a lot of different kinds of series and characters' powers can vary, but with territorial expansions, it's like a given when you're at a certain level. And so like it's just always fun to see them dropped in so far in the series. And it got interrupted, and I was like, God damn it, why is it interrupted? I want to see what really cool like ancient forest he pulls out, or some like really cool horror land of like monstrous flowers. And then just like, but it pulled over, and it's Satoru, who's not only broken through the screen, but he's got his eye bandages off. And last time we saw him pull that off, he went into his territorial expansion, the immeasurable void, and just ripped off that volcano dude's head like it was nothing. So hype chapter in so many ways. Like, you had the really good fighting choreography, you had really good moments for both the good guys and the bad guys, and I just honestly I really like looking at this weird monster tooth seed plant. I don't know, it just looks so cool to me, and I really like weird attacks like that, where it's just, you look at it and it's not like, oh, I can deduce that attack just by, oh, okay, it's a really big summons or something. You just look at that and you're like, what the hell is going on with that guy's ability? It just looks so cool. And the layout of like how Hanami's standing too is just so interesting looking. So all around, I think was a super solid chapter. I've only read a couple of the of this week's Shonen Jumps. This so far, I think, is my favorite out of, well, Black Clover and then Jujutsu Kaisen. Chainsaw Man was a little bit lower this week, but man, Jujutsu Kaisen has been heavy. I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for the anime to get announced, and then people are gonna start jumping on the train for this. And then when the anime finally comes out, it's gonna explode. But other than that, drop a comment below on what you thought about this chapter, and tell me what you think about how this. Honestly, how do you think about like this panel? Like the chapter itself, I want to hear anyone else's opinions, but like this panel in general, I really want to hear about, just because it looks so cool, and I just really like the visual aspect of it. But other than that, I really appreciate if you would thumbs up the video, befriend the like button, and the subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But other than that, thank you very much for listening, and all those who already subscribed. Bye.